This video will introduce you to the new TubePro 5.1. This software is used to create tube sheet map, visualize it in 3D, and create report from data recorded and analyzed in Magnify software. The software interface is very simple to use. You have basic steps to follow on the right side section of the screen here. You have ribbon at the top that are contextual depending on the step where you are. And you have the project browser that allows you to see different properties, again contextual to the item selected in the main window. To start a new model, it is suggested to use a template. To do that, you click New and you select New Project from Default Template. Eventually, you will be able to save your own template and use it for your report. When you use a template, there is some tube represented at the beginning when you create the first map. So those tube does not represent necessarily the tube sheet you want to draw. So you can first select the tube and delete this tube section. To do that, you go in the map basic step, you select the mapping tool, and you can create click the button select section. So that will select, once you click on the tube, all the section that is represented. Then you can click clear map. From there, you can start drawing your own map. There's different tools available. You can add tube one by selecting the single tube addition. So this way you can enter your tube one by one this way. This could be quite long, so what I suggest is to use the block selection. So I'm gonna delete this line of tube by selecting an area and clear the map again, and then add a block of tube. A block of tube allows you to give a section name and define numbers of rows that you want and the numbers of column that you want in your map. You can define the tube size and the pitch that you will have and the pattern for the tube representation in the section. So once it is selected, you can click OK and the tube will be drawn. From there, you need to remove the tube that will allows you to create the map that you like. There is different tools again that allows you to delete an area, a line, or a single tube. If the tools that are in the basic section are not enough for your need, you can always move to the advanced map section, and then you have multiple ribbons where you can do different tasks. The selection ribbon allows you to do all kind of complex selection of tube, delete them, or align them here with different direction. The tube section will allow you to introduce tube. Edit will allow you to do copy and paste, rotation, symmetry to your model. And the common section here will combine most of the tools that you have in the advanced map section. There is also the photo tool that allows you to detect tube from a photo. And this step, we're going to show that later in the demonstration. So for now, I'm just going to delete the tube that I don't want to fit with my map. And then we're going to start to import results. In the selection ribbon, I will use the select multi function to grab multiple tubes and delete them in one shot. Once the map is created, I can look at the tube numbering, make sure it's okay. So I can show the tube number inside the circle like this, or I can show with some line on the side like that. If I don't see all the map, I can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out easily, and the right click of the mouse to drag my map on the screen. So this allows me to quickly validate the tube numbering. If the order is not correct, we can change from the mapping tool again this horizontal order or vertical order to make it the way we want. Once the tube numbering is valid, I'm ready to move to the 3D model representation. So I click 3D model. In the 3D model, I have a first representation of the heat exchanger. Of course, the default parameter do not necessarily match the exact heat exchanger that you have. So you can use the project properties here to edit the main parameters of the bundle. Again, the wheel mouse will allow you to zoom in and out. Left click will allow you to rotate the geometry, and the right click allow you to move it on screen. So let's edit the tube sheet first. So there is the type of heat exchanger, so straight or U-bend. And the next step is to adjust the tube length. So in this case is 168 inches. So as you can see, when I do that, the tube length has reduced. So if I want that my back tube sheet match the tube length, I need to make sure that the shell geometry is also at the same length of 168. Now I can also set my tube sheet diameter. So they are circular now. They could be also rectangular. The thickness can be defined and the diameter. So I'm going to move that to something smaller that will fit what I have. And the same thing for my shell geometry. So if I reduce this, you will see that the nozzle will also move to fit that diameter. So right now I have my tube sheet set correctly with my tube. The next step will be to define the support plate. So there is here a support plate editor. When I click on this, I can add different type of support plate to the heat exchanger. Let me show you different things available. So if I click add, I can give a name and I can select the type of support plate I want. So they could be full support, top half, bottom half, segmental support plate. For example, a full support, I can define the location from the front, its diameter, thickness, and there's multiple. I can define the number of them and the spacing. So if I click add to this, apply to this, you will see my full support appearing. In my current heat exchanger, I have single segmental type. It's starting at the position 18 inches, and I have 11 of them with a spacing of 12 inches. So if I click apply, I can see now my plate. There is other parameter that you can set here to define the extent of the segmental section inside the tube sheet. So this way you can adjust it exactly the way you want. And if there is other different type of support plate, you can add them. So if there is a full support right here at 5 inches, you can add it by using again add. Then you use a full support, and this one is at, let's say 5 inches from the beginning. There is only one of them, and if I click apply, I can see it appear right there. So fairly simple to use, and when it's done, you just click OK and your 3D model is created. Another cool trick that is available to align the model is to use this top right corner tool here. By clicking on this, you can decide to have a direct orientation, like from the front. If you click on the edge, it's going to show it at 45 degree. I can click right. I can click the top edge, so it's going to move it this way. And I can quickly do that. I can even select the corner, and it's going to select it along the corner. So if I select one angle specifically, and then let's say I move it a bit, I can then use the circle here to do a rotation using the same orientation. So a lot of flexibility on the way you select and display your bundle is available. To complete the model, one can also edit the nozzle if required. So you can click this tool and decide to define the nozzle. You can define their location, their angle, diameter, and length. So with that, you can do almost anything that is required to position them correctly. Same thing for the U-bend editor. There is a way to define them according to the exchanger that you have. So here I only have a straight tube. The third step after designing the tube sheet and the 3D model is to import the inspection data. So for that, we move to inspection data, and we can see here that I have a table, an empty table containing all the tube that are in my heat exchanger. So the way to import the data is to click here, import and replace, or import and append if you're adding data to an existing report. Here, since it's my first one, I will just import and replace. Select the database of the report created with Magnify. If you prefer not using the database, you can also select the text file that could be created from Magnify, but the database can be directly imported. And doing this will add all the information about the defect inspected. This is very quick step. The next step after that is to move to the drawing. The drawing section is already positioned here. I need to refresh this drawing to make sure that it's going to contain the new. In fact, the new section is not there, so I'm going to delete this one, which is the one from the template. And from the project browser, I move into the project area, and I select the single tube sheet section view here, and I click and drag it right on the document, and I can get my tube section added to the document. So I can change the size for exactly what I want to see in my page. This layout is what is created by default from the template. So you can see a legend here and some information. Those information are fields that are coming from the project properties. So if I go to the project properties, I can see here the client information, the job information, the inspection. So those fields here are linked with the table at the bottom. So if I change the company name for company XYZ and I click enter, the value is changed here right away. This is the inspection company. So if I'm going here and I change here this for Edify, I get the Edify name put there. So we can have the logo also added there. So all those fields are available to be placed in the page. So this is the default template, but someone can change that structure and put the information that you want based on the inspection done. In this area, we have the legend and the tube section. There is a way to edit them. If I want to edit the way the data is displayed here, I can double click on the section itself. So I select, double click on it, and then I can define few things related to the section. For example, I can assign a specific legend to it, and I can define what kind of row numbering I will see on each side and at the top and the bottom of the map. For example, if I want to see on the left row and tube number like it is now, but I don't want to see anything on the right side, I can come here and say no, none. So there will be no tube. I can remove the line, so the row line are only on the left side. And I can decide the interval to be different if I want. So right now it's at 5. I can make the interval at every 2. So you see here right now how it looks. So you can customize that so that it looks exactly like what you want. And you can also add numbering for the tube. So for example, I can add line at the top or at the bottom. I can also decide to add number in the tube. For example, if I do that, I can see some numbering appearing in the tube at the interval that it's determined here. So different way of fine-tuning this. And once you're happy with what is available, you just have to click OK, and your drawing will be updated. So this is the drawing called default number 2. So this drawing could be renamed differently, and it's going to appear in the project list here as the a drawing right here. So this can be slide in your report anytime later on while you're doing your editing. The legend, it's a bit the same way. You can double click on it and decide to edit the values. So you can change the color that is represented, you can change the defect range, you can change the shape of the symbol that is displayed. For example, if I select the plug and I click on edit, I can see that this symbol plug is used when the code is the same as PLG, and I have the shape called number 2, but I could have different shape, for example a triangle. I can decide to have a different color. So if I want it to be red, I can do that, and then my plug become a red triangle. So all kind of way to edit the value. So I will go back to the black square, and if you look at the depth range and edit one, you will see how it is made. So basically it's a name, it's a caption, and you define different conditions. So here you can see that any tube that has the percentage value greater than a value 30 or less than 40 will be displayed with this color. So editing those range is very easy. You can click on a number and change the value. If it's not the value percent that you want to evaluate, but another column information like the position or the voltage, you can decide on what field you're looking at and custom design the condition that you want to meet for the legend. So I will not do more editing than that, just to show you that there is all kind of settings that could be adjusted. I'm going to increase the font size so it's going to look bigger and click OK. And now I have my legend here. So once the drawing is made, and you can have multiple drawing. So this is one drawing with one legend, but you can add new drawing by duplicating this one or by adding a new one. And when you do that, you will have several pages, and you can decide to have one drawing to show the defect, one drawing to show, let's say, the plug, or different things. And each drawing will be available later to put in your report. Once the drawing is done, you can move to the last step, which is the report generation. So the report is based on a template, the template I loaded at the beginning of this demonstration. It is typically a Word document. And as you can see here, this Word document has a title page with a logo and different information, and a table of content and different information. So right now you see that this is my 3D model, the drawing of it. This is my drawing page I just made. And then there is a summary where you can see a graphic of the defect found in my heat exchanger. Here they are area of text that you can fill by yourself. So you can put some information about the inspection technique, recommendation, photos, instrument, certification. You can think about all kind of information to put there. The data report is typically the tabular report that is generated from all the result imported. Right now, this tabular report show all the column in the imported data, but if I want to see less column, it's possible to edit that by double clicking the table and decide to hide some column. So when we do that, not hiding, but using the column list, and then you can move what you don't want to see. So for example, if you don't want to see the file name, you move it there. Let's say we don't want to have the remaining wall, and the nominal is not required, the tube OD also. So we have only row, tube, percentage code, the actual wall, let's say we remove that, volt, degree, channel, landmark, location, and comment. So let's say this is what I want, so I can click OK, and my table will be updated with the new value. I can edit the size so that it's going to fit better my page. So all the table are all the results are listed in this tabular format after that. So as you can see, this report has been automatically generated for you. It's like a Word document, and you can directly type in it and edit it the same way as you edit a Word document. So if you look at the ribbon at the top, you have the home ribbon here where you can change the font, you can insert tables, pictures, you can change your page layout, you can add some references like a table of content, things like that. The cool thing about the template also is you can have a lot of text that are related to the project properties. For example, here, the company name here, I did a mistake when I type it, but this is a field, in fact, that is in the report that is updated when I type here. So if I use the company, the client name 10 times in the report, just by changing it here, it's going to be updated every place it is positioned in the report after that. Adding a new field to the report is very simple. For example, to add the address just before the city, I can come make a new line here, type the address. Now, having the address here, to include this address in the report, I just click and drag on the field itself. So moving it right there, bring the value of the field directly in the report. So if my address appear 4 times in the report, each time I update the value for a different customer, it's going to be updated everywhere in the report. So the concept is that you use the report as a Word document. If you need to add a new drawing, for example, a new 3D drawing, you go to the project, you select your 3D model, you click and drag it right in the document. That will make it appear, and from there you can double click on it and edit the configuration how you want to see it. So let's say you want to see it from the side, you want to remove the tube and just see the defect in it. So you can come in the tube section and uncheck the section, so you can see now all the defect where they are located in the tube and get the representation of that. So all kind of configuration you can do to fine-tune the representation of your tube sheet. So it's up to you to adjust it the way you like, and once you're set, you can click OK, and that view will be updated in your report. For each type of object you have in the project, you can have multiple view of the same one. So the 3D model right now, I have only one view. So each time I edit it, it's going to be translated everywhere in the report. But if I add other 3D views, they can be edited individually. Same thing for the 2D map or the drawing section. If you have multiple, you will see multiple drawing in here. So you just have to click the element and drag it into the report. So this is a very brief introduction to the new TubePro 5.1, but the key thing to remember is that the software is very friendly to be used. 5 simple steps with basic map creation, model creation in 3D, importing data, creating the drawing page, and finalizing the report as you do a report, a Word document normally. Regarding the report itself, something cool is, let's say you want to start with your own template that you already have for your company. You can load it from here, and TubePro will be able to load a Word document, so it's going to appear exactly like your Word document, and you can start dragging and dropping different variables to make it the way you like. And at the end, you can save the project as a template by using Save As. So the next time you use it, you can use your template to create another project. Thanks for your attention.